Hi, Carly.
Hello.
I'm really glad to start this session with you today.
I'm excited.
Good. Okay, I understand that you have a stutter and we're going to be working on that with you, okay? So the first technique we're going to talk about for managing your stutter is called easy speech. So this technique is mainly used to lessen physical tension in your articulators when you're speaking. So it's used by beginning a word, a phrase, or a sentence more easily and with less overall physical tension, okay? And there's also sort of an emotional component and a behavioral component to this. So I want you to remain calm when you're initiating speech or when you feel a stutter start to come on. So I want you to try not to get anxious, even though that sometimes that might happen when you're getting ready to initiate speech. So in those moments of communication where you feel that coming on, it's important to remember to just take your time and move through it. So what I want you to do for this first part is to initiate speech on a relaxed breath. So this will help your articulators be very light and easy and prolonged. So like this. I am going to the store later. Okay, so can you try that for me?
I'm going to the store later.
Great. Good. All right, so the next component of this easy speech is called light contacts. So this is a more prolonged, lighter, and deliberate pattern of speech. So I want you to really try and conceptualize that the words coming out of your mouth are kind of a continuous string. So try and remain relaxed and smoothly transition from word to word. So like this. I am going to the store later. Can you try that for me?
I'm going to the store later.
Great. Okay, so the next component of easy speech is called controlled phrasing. So this concept will allow you to control the complexity of the message that you're trying to get across. And this is mainly done by making sure that you have enough breath support and the proper amount of air for the length of each phrase that you are saying. So you want to have enough air to produce an entire phrase easily, not just enough for one word. And I don't want you to plan to say an extremely long phrase or something like that on one breath. So I want you to try and chunk your speech into smaller parts, maybe like 4 to 5 words. So I'm going to demonstrate a longer phrase or a couple phrases for you using this technique. So I am going to the store later. I go to store on Fridays so I can buy groceries for the week. Can you try that?
I'm going to the store later. I go on Fridays so I can have groceries for the week.
Perfect. Great job. And finally, the last component is controlling your rate. So it's important to remember that rate is not the only thing that matters when you're speaking, but it's a really important part of learning how to manage your speech. So I want you to try that same sentence again that I just did. I want you to try and monitor your rate, slow it down a little bit, and so you can think about controlling that speech that's coming out. So how about this? I am going to the store later. I go to the store on Fridays so I can have groceries for the week. Can you try that?
I'm going to the store later. I go to the store on Fridays so I can have groceries for the week.
Great job. So you just demonstrated the 4 techniques that make up easy speech. And so lastly, just so we can synthesize all those that we learned, I want you to try and read this passage right here, combining all 4 of those techniques that we just discussed. So I want you to use easy onsets when you begin the speech, light contacts of your articulators, kind of control the phrasing when you're reading, and also try and control your rate. Can you try that?
Mm-hmm. You wish to know all about my grandfather. Well, he is nearly 93 years old. He dresses himself in an ancient black frock coat, usually minus several buttons, yet he still thinks as swiftly as ever. A long flowing beard clings to his chin, giving those who observe him a pronounced feeling of utmost respect.
Good. Great job.
Thank you.
Okay, today we're going to talk about another technique that you can use to manage your stutter. This is called freezing. So the basic concept of freezing is that you freeze or hold on to moments when you're stuttering. So like the other techniques we discussed, this will help you have more control over your stuttering, and it will also help you learn to kind of be less emotional and more tolerant of your stuttering behaviors. So when you employ this technique, I want you to hold your stuttering and continue to stay in the moment of that stutter for a longer period of time than the stutter would normally last. So I will help you indicate the moment that you stutter, but you will yourself learn to identify the moment that you stutter as soon as you start to feel it occur. Then I want you to stay in that moment until I give you a signal to release it. And then when you're in that moment of stutter, I want you to really try and feel what is happening in that moment. So I want you to think about it. I want you to try and remove any emotion that you have. And I want you to try to release any tension in your jaw or other articulators. Then when I signal you to stop freezing, I want you to move smoothly out of the stutter and finish the phrase. So we'll start by holding on to the moments of stuttering for like a brief, short period of time, maybe just a couple seconds, and then we'll work more on holding them for longer periods of time as you become more comfortable with your stutter. So I will demonstrate this technique for you. Tomorrow I plan to bake a cake. Okay, so when I said that sentence, I had a block on the word plan, and I prolonged that block about 2 to 3 seconds more than I would normally have once I identified that the block started to occur. So I want you to try that. I want you to talk about something that you like to do as a hobby. So I'll signal you with an index finger when I hear that starting behavior start, and then I will change to a thumbs up when I want you to ease out of the behavior. Okay? Can you try that for me?
Every day I like to work out at the gym. It makes me feel good and helps me stay healthy.
Great. Good job. So I only had you hold those for about 2 to 3 seconds, but I want you to try that again, but this time I'm going to have you hold them a little bit longer, so more like 4 to 5 seconds. Can we try that? This time I want you to talk about places that you like to go to eat.
My favorite meal to go out to eat is breakfast. I like to go to first watch.
Good. Great job.
Thank you. Hi Marisa, I'm glad to have you here. I know you're here to work on your stuttering, so I'm going to start talking about some techniques you can use to help you. So today we're going to begin working on identifying your moments of stuttering, and it's by using a technique called tallying. So tallying is just how it sounds. It's a means of marking and keeping count of your stuttering moments. Not only is it good for you to keep track of your stuttering moments, but I'll also keep track of your stuttering moments to point out when you stutter, and we can compare and raise your awareness. The goal is to help you become more aware of when you stutter and identifying your stutter. For example, identifying things like the types of stutters you're experiencing, secondary behaviors that might be happening, and how you feel about or how you react to your stuttering. So I'm going to read a passage and demonstrate to you what tallying looks like, and I want you to practice tallying my disfluencies as well on this sheet of paper.
Okay.
Tally when you hear a disfluency, and when I'm done reading the passage, we can compare what we heard. Improving our accuracy of identification helps raise awareness. Lexi jumped into the wave and was immediately immersed in the water. She stood up and came out of the water. I love the water. I love the waves, and I love the sand. She said her family was visiting the beach for one whole week, and this was their first day. She looked forward to every minute she could spend swimming on the beach. Okay, so now let's compare. How many did you come up with?
I got 8.
Oh, perfect. I got 8 as well. So that helps you and I both become aware of when I was stuttering in that moment, and you could identify my moments of stuttering. So now I want you to try to tally your stutters while reading this passage right here.
Okay.
Be sure to mark on the page each time you stutter. I will also tally when you stutter so we can compare afterwards.
Okay. Spider is an amazing animal. It can build its own home, and it doesn't even have to chop wood or buy a saw. Before the spider begins to build, it looks for the perfect spot. A spider usually likes to live in a grassy area where lots of insects can get caught in its web. Then the spider eats the insects for dinner. The spider also has to figure out which way the wind is blowing. The wind has to be on the spider's back before it's able to make its house.
Good. So I had a total of 17 stutter disfluence moments.
I only counted 10, so this is something I really need to work. That was really hard for me.
Yeah, that's all right. That's the point of tallying, is to help raise your awareness. So maybe next time we'll try working on tallying in conversation, because it's more difficult. You have to try to maintain conversation or maintain eye contact while also counting.
Okay.
So we'll practice with shorter passages, and I'll help you become more aware of when you're stuttering.
Okay.
And then also in future sessions, we can work on identifying your secondary behaviors, or in other words, like how you react to your stutter. Like I notice sometimes you blink when you're stuttering, and we can tally them in the same way we tally your speech disfluencies, and just compare and help you become more aware.
Okay.
Royce, I'm super happy you're back today. We're going to talk about a new or different technique to help with your stuttering and gaining control over your stuttering. So the technique we're working on today is called cancellations or bouncing. Cancellations are a technique that may help you break the habit of rushing to finish a phrase or a sentence. Though this may be difficult, it will help you gain control of your stuttering in a new way. So the basic premise of this technique is to finish the moment of stuttering and then go back and say the word again to say the word fluently. Let's take this step by step. So first, you finish the word that you're stuttering on. Next, you pause and come to a complete stop. Take a moment, gather yourself, and try to relax all of your tension in your speech structures or your articulators. And then next, prepare yourself to correct what was ineffective or what word you had experienced a disfluency on. And then repeat the word in a slower, prolonged, relaxed fashion. Watch me demonstrate this technique in a sentence. I went to the farmer's market to buy flowers. When you say the word a second time, it is the technique referred to as bouncing. Now I want you to try. Can you tell me a story about what you did last night and try to use the cancellation technique on words that you stutter on?
Okay. Last night I made some soup for my friends when they came over. The soup I made was broccoli cheddar.
Good, Marisa, you picked up on that really quickly. So you may not use this technique very often once you learn other skills or coping mechanisms to help control your stutter. However, this technique is an important stepping stone in learning to take control of your speech. And you did a really great job.